changed quite a bit?
Their home bleachers, press box.
Well, I knew they were going to do it.
It's time for Coach's Corner, sponsored by Horizon Construction, the official Tiger football coaches show, with Hub Network commentary, Travis Peary, James Caulfield, and Bruce Vogt, featuring head coach Rusty Morgan on the Hub Network. And now here's your host, Joe Kennedy.
Well, all right, everybody, here we are, and welcome to the Horizon Construction Coaches Show, Coaches Corner, as we call it. And most of the commentary is on the road today. I was on the road most of the weekend. I got back. I didn't even get to watch the game live or in person at Wagner, as I was in McAllister all weekend. Did watch it on the Hub Network. Imagine that. And came through well and got to watch the game that way, and I appreciated having that available to me as well. So glad, thankful for all the people, all the viewers that tuned in this week. It was a little chillier this week. We'll get into that in a little bit, and kind of turned fall on us there. So some good football weather out there. And anyway, we're glad that you joined us on the Hub Network and got to see that game. Good game. Before we get into that, we'll talk a little bit about, if you haven't got the Hub Extra magazine is out, and you can find that. Bill's Easy Out's a great place to pick one up. There's a bunch of them there. Styrian, other places around town, almost anywhere around town. We've distributed most of those, so they're out. You can grab one that way. But a couple of good articles in there. Ag certainly was the highlight. This magazine of being in the top 10 nationally, this ag program. So grab that, keep that, and you have one forever and ever and ever if you want to keep it. So anyway, also this weekend, band started their the marching band, CHS marching band started their march towards their contest and all that stuff this week. They were in the Blue Gray Classic marching contest over in Glenpool and placed fourth in that. So they had a good chance there to get a good showing. good performance there. And Perkins was a surprising standout in that contest and did pretty well. So kind of keeping it local around here. But you guys go back on the Hub Network Facebook page. You can check out that performance from last night. We streamed that live as well, and we're able to bring that to you. So check that out. And there's a lot of stuff going on. They've got state contests coming up. I think on Tuesday they go down to Lawton and perform there. So a busy week for the band, and then turn right around, and we're going to have that next football game on a Thursday. Of course, fall break coming up this next weekend. So a busy week for everybody, a short week, kind of compressed week for everybody going on. So check all that stuff out, and we appreciate all the support that's given to all these programs and the Cushing High School, of course. Like I said, our commentary is kind of on the road today, so it may just be yours truly here today. But in studio, we have a couple of great guests. Of course, Coach Morgan, as always. Thank you, Coach, for being here.
You bet.
And Lonnie Schuler. Man, we got Lonnie coming up here. So how did Coach coached you into that?
I don't know. He just asked me, and I was like, I might as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I don't got nothing going on, so.
He didn't threaten to pull you out of the game or anything like that. I'm sure he wouldn't. I'm sure he wouldn't do that. But good to have you, Lonnie. I think everybody told you it was a hard seat to fill. It's going to be difficult or easy.
Huh? No, they were just scared of me. That was it.
They tried to scare you?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm sure they tried to do that.
Just be yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, thanks for being here. Appreciate that. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll get back into it. And we didn't get to even have a coach's interview after the game because of the shorthandedness last week. So we'll get to hear a little bit from Coach and what his thoughts were on that game when we come back. And we'll get to hear all about what was going on in that second half, that defensive second half too. So we'll check all that stuff out. We'll come back here on the Hub Network. Stay with us.
Coach's Corner with head coach Rusty Morgan is brought to you by Horizon Construction, reminding you your home is our pride. Call Horizon Construction at 918-399-5835 and get your free estimate today.
At Davis Dental Studio, our patients are our friends. Unlike the big commercial facilities, Davis Dental Studios wants you to know you're not just a number. We strive to bring personal and quality service to each patient. Dr. Rebecca Davis has over 18 years of experience as a caring and compassionate dentist. She and her highly trained staff will make sure your visit is a positive one. So remember, when you and your family need dental care, Davis Dental Studio. You're not just a patient, you're a friend.
In my mind, I was never going to walk right again. Before we were through, we had walked 23 steps. And that was my first steps of freedom. This patient is saying thank you.
Bank of Cushing, a branch of Blue Sky Bank Pahuska, wants you to know they are still the same friendly hometown bank. Local people that live, work, and worship right here in Cushing. Providing you the same great service, more convenient products and technology, making your local banking experience even better. A great bank, serving a great community. Bank of Cushing, a branch of Blue Sky Bank Pahuska.
Since 2003, Pro Events has had one singular focus: great audio, video, and lighting systems. Never confusing our industry with the PC crowd, Pro Events always provides you with the best, most reliable options for your house of worship, school, or corporate training facility. Make your system stand out from the crowd. And remember,
for the best AV, you know where to go visit proevents.pro.
It's all good, man.
back here on the Horizon Construction Coaches Show. Welcome back. Welcome, Coach Morgan. Welcome, Lonnie Schuyler. Good to have you guys in studio again. And, Coach, let's just talk a little bit about how the game went and what your thoughts were, as we would probably at the end of the game. We didn't get to do that interview last weekend, but give us your thoughts on the game.
You know, like we just talked about during the break here, you're going into what a lot of people are calling the #1 team in the state, and rightfully so. And you know, I thought we took some shots early on. Ultimately, they kind of drove down the field and scored there early on, and then got the 2 points. And you know, it's 8-0 pretty quick. And you know, I thought we responded well. We moved the ball, got on their side of the 50 a couple times. Had to punt the ball a couple times, but you know, ultimately we were moving the ball pretty good all night. Had a couple of turnovers, but these guys were doing a good job all night of protecting John, giving him time to throw. We ran the ball well at times. I thought John made some good reads in the run game. And it was kind of just a back and forth battle there throughout the middle of that first half. And, you know, scoring with no time on the clock, going in at half to, you know, make it a 15-14 ball game. Feeling really good going in. And, you know, going in, I think Coach Chisholm and our offensive guys and Coach Fry, Coach Rockwell on defense, I think they make some adjustments there. Whether they're big or small, you know, I think it showed in the second half. We came out, and again, we're moving the ball offensively. And I thought our defense really stepped up and played a good physical offensive attack well in the second half.
Absolutely. Well, obviously, man, you guys were making adjustments the whole time and still trying to battle through that in the first half. And you did respond well. I mean, you watched right back down the field, put some points on the board, and then came back just before halftime to gain some momentum. That was a big touchdown, I think. You know, you guys giving you a little bit of confidence going to halftime. What did that feel like at halftime?
Felt great. My wife was telling me that that's probably as excited as she's ever seen me going in half. And, you know, and I'm kind of to backtrack here a little bit. Our guys never were intimidated throughout the game, before the game, and you could see that there no complaining, they were just moving forward the whole time. And to score there going in a half, you're thinking we got a little momentum here. We come out in the second half, we get a 3 and out, we get the ball back, and I'm feeling really good about things. Yeah. And they're a good football team too, and ultimately made enough plays to get it done.
Absolutely. And you talk about how the line played. Lonnie, let's talk about that. What was going through your mind seeing these guys again since the final last year?
They lost a lot of guys for sure. The size, they got a little bit smaller, but I mean, they're still good though. Obviously new faces. Not much really. Anything
you didn't expect? I mean, when you guys lined up face to face, I mean, you watch film and you prepare, you do all that stuff, and then you get out there. I mean, what are you thinking about these guys? Because they were different.
Yeah, they were small. I mean, me and Rowdy were double teaming good. I thought I was just gonna be a field day, but they do fire off. They'd hold their own and stuff.
Did their speed surprise you? Were they a little faster? Or
yeah, just a little bit. The one nose guard, I forgot what number he is, but 52. He was nice. He fired off though. I mean, I got him through a few times, but it didn't really surprise me. Last year one of them was pretty big, but he was not that great.
Right. So you obviously compensate. I mean, you have strengths in some spots and compensate for it in other spots depending on your size and how you play the game. But when you see those guys in person, sometimes you don't know exactly what to expect. Yeah. Their speed looks a little different than it does on film. You see a little bit of that up in close. So you mentioned the guy right across from you. He was firing off pretty quick. You were having to. I mean, you couldn't take a play off. I guess is what you're saying, right? How did that feel for you as snapping the ball? I mean, how much concentration? Let's just talk about that. This side of this game, because we've talked about it a couple times this year, that you do a really, really good job making sure that exchange happens the right way every time.
Touching the ball every play.
Every play, and you're the only guy that does that. And it's pretty amazing the way you've been able to handle that situation all year and all last year and everything that you've been doing. So, what do you think about that?
My really main goal is just trying to get it back there and then having to come back up and know what I'm supposed to do, how to step. I really got to listen as well because everyone's talking. I can't hear as much because I'm obviously down low. I just try to concentrate, just try to get it there first and make sure just get up and start going block.
a lot of mechanics in that, right? A lot of mechanics in that exchange, and people, we take that for granted so often, just seeing a snap, oh, it's just another snap, or, you know, he's in the shotgun or something, and getting that ball back to him is not always as easy as it looks, especially when you've got somebody right across from you that you know that's a good player, you have respect for them, and you know you're going to have to be on your game to pull the blocks that you need.
Because especially how fast they are, because some of them are huge, some of them are small. They can fire off one wrong move, and that's just over for me. But I just usually just take a second, see what they're doing, and then just go.
Now, you also have some responsibilities besides all that going on before the ball snapped. I mean, you're looking at the way that things lined up, you're looking at your blocking schemes and all that stuff, and you're calling some stuff out there. What's going on with all that?
I just look around to see if anything's creeping in, and just see if they're more inside, if I have to go back, or I have to tell one of the guards or tackles hey, watch this right there. And
are you looking at the gaps there?
Yes,
how they're playing the gaps.
I look down, I see if they're more inside. I have to look up, look at the linebackers to see if they're creeping up or not. I just have a lot to see, really.
Well, there's a lot to do now. You start thinking about all the things you have to do to make that exchange, but you're keeping that, again, very mechanical in the sense that you're doing things in order, and it can be very easy to get that out of order. But you seem to have a very high focus and concentration on that job.
Yeah.
Obviously, don't want to. I always start thinking about Jared Kennedy when I start talking about this. He's gonna say, "Well, you're jinxing it. You're jinxing it." No, I'm not jinxing anything because I know you do a great job and I know you handle it very well.
He does. Another thing about Lonnie, just anchoring that offensive line, being a 3-year starter up there, you know, he does an excellent job talking about the reads and what he goes through, kind of play by play. But you see him. He's very even keeled throughout the game too. He's positive. He's the definition of what you want as a team captain, as a leader out there. A guy who's doing that every snap, and just couldn't be more prouder of it.
Well, that's hard to do sometimes, to keep your cool and to keep level-headed in the game. Emotions run high out there, do they not sometimes?
Yes, they do.
And this game, let's talk a little bit about that too in this game, because it was getting a little bit chippy there at times. I mean, there was some probably extracurricular activity going on a little bit after plays, but you didn't find yourself in any of that, or did you see it going on? What do you do?
I just make sure that whenever I do see it, I did see it once, I just look back at my line, I just said, don't do it. I just calm them down, just make sure that we're doing our jobs, and just one play at a time.
Absolutely. Well, you guys do a really, really good job with that. I think, last week the O-line was our MVP, offensive MVP. You guys have proved the reason why that is, and we can almost say that probably every week you guys deserve to be on that list, because that is work in the trenches down there. I mean, you don't get a lot of stats accumulated down there, but you have to do the work or nobody's successful on offense, right? You guys have been given quarterback a lot of time, the receivers a lot of time to run their routes and to be open and that sort of thing. How much pride do you guys as a line feel about that?
Honestly, even if we get 5-10 yards, we all feel great. Especially that I know that I've gotten a good block and everyone else is doing their job. I mean, I feel great. Everyone else does. Even though we were talking on the sidelines, if we make a touchdown, just even a few yards, we're all excited.
We're going to see a play here in a little bit, and I think what's interesting after that is the couple of the linemen come up and are just as ecstatic about the touchdown as anybody who scored is scoring in the end zone, because that's just as much a culmination of the play for you guys as it is for anybody else. I just think that you guys do such a good job. There's a lot of teamwork in here, Coach. I mean, talk about how the team kind of coalesced around itself.
There is. I was just about to mention that. There's we have a lot of people taking pictures on the sidelines and things like that, and a lot of those that are really cool to see, after the fact, are Lonnie and some of our offensive linemen down there after a big play or a touchdown and lifting them up, and so they're celebrating. Like I said, ultimate teammates. You have to be to play center, to be on the offensive line. Like you said, you're not getting those stats, but you do your job, and you see your buddies in the backfield doing what they do, or receivers scoring, or John having time, and that's what it's all about. And these guys are fully bought in.
Absolutely. Well, so let me just ask you straight up. This may be a pretty common question for a lineman. Which do you like better? You like the run plays or the pass plays? Which would you rather see?
I mean, as me, I don't really have to do much. I just really help. But I feel like run run plays because you just get to just run someone over.
Kind of firing off the line on a run play. You're attacking a little bit more. Pass plays, you feel like you're maybe in a little more defensive position.
Yeah, I think run.
Yeah, run. Well, I mean, listen, you guys have opened up massive holes last week. You guys were blowing open some big stuff. I mean, that's got to be a huge source of pride for all you guys.
Oh, yes.
Awesome. Well, Coach, I mean, I know you show a lot of pride in this offensive line every week, and we started off the year saying that these guys are a big part of what this team is going to be, and it's proven to be that, has it not?
Oh yeah, and we've talked about the experience up there, and especially early on in the season, kind of leaning on those guys a little bit because we were filling in some holes early on, and I think this group has helped the rest of the team kind of get everybody else caught up to speed, and didn't walk off the field with a win the other night, but again, just the way everybody played and the way you could look in the huddle, and like I said, nobody was intimidated, even when things were bad early on. Everybody's like, hey, next snap, here we go. And, and that starts with those guys, and it carries over to some guys who have now, played 6 weeks of a season, and I like where we're at right now.
Right. Well, it does kind of show you where you're at because that is the number one team in the state, no matter what. I mean, somebody's going to be ranked that. They happen to be. You guys went out there and played them like it was just like anybody else coming in here. I mean, maybe not the preparation. You were probably looking at some things ahead of time, knowing that good coaching on the other side. What did you have to do in preparation this week?
Well, and like we had spoke about, and I say a lot of the same things every week. You prepare the same way, but when you're playing the number one team in the state, there's a lot of things to look at. And I do think just defensively, they ran several different coverages and moved some guys around. One of their defensive ends, number one, he played some outside linebacker, played some safety spots. He moved down and played on the line. I mean, when you're moving around like that and you kind of get familiar blocking somebody, and then all of a sudden somebody else is there, and so you look at those different types of things. And then offensively, speaking of our defense, looking at their offense, we knew their quarterback was a big physical runner. This year they have started throwing the ball a little bit more, and I thought our secondary really played a good game on Friday night, stopping some of those passes and breaking those up. And being physical, and our message was, don't be scared to lose this thing. Don't be timid. Don't sit back on your heels and be scared to be wrong. If you're going to be wrong going fast.
Right.
And I think our defensive line, linebackers, it was another big physical football game, and again, proud of the competition, proud of the way they represented and did what they did.
Well, you speak of that in terms of competition. Doesn't that really sharpen you guys up? Even though nobody wants to take the loss. Nobody wants to take the loss. It's been a lot better to sit here and say, hey, we won it by 1 point instead of being down. But you're saying, though, that pride in the fact that they played them tough to the end. They were right in the game. Give credit to where credit's due on their side. But still, these guys played tough, and you walked away knowing more about your team, did you not?
And absolutely. And I had that belief in them going in. Again, you could see it that they weren't intimidated by the atmosphere, where we were at, any of that. And feeling good now that we can really go play with anybody in the state.
Right.
And over the weekend, I'm one, you know me well enough, I don't like to dwell on the past and look in the past, but we beat this team 42-0 here last week in week 6, and then we ultimately played again in week 14. And their coaching staff was hats off to the way they played and all that, and said, hey, let's play again week 14. So that's the ultimate goal. There's one team holding that ball up at the end, and that's what every team is striving to do. And we'll continue to take it 1 week at a time. We've got a good McLean team who's 5-1 right now, and rally around that performance we had.
Absolutely. We'll talk a little bit about that. I want to talk a little bit more about the chess match in the coaching, because you guys are so familiar with each other. We're going to do that when we come back here in just a minute. But good perspective, Lonnie, from you and from you, Coach. We appreciate that. Stay with us. We'll be right back here after.
Stay with us on the Tiger Football Live Coaches Show, Coach's Corner, with head coach Rusty Morgan. Coach's Corner will be right back after these messages.
RCB Bank is more than a transaction. We work to make your life easier. We help build your business. We finance your dreams. We grow your legacy. We build relationships with our communities. Come in to find out why our customers always say, RCB Bank. That's my bank.
2003, Pro Events has had one singular focus: great audio, video, and lighting systems. Never confusing our industry with the PC crowd, Pro Events always provides you with the best, most reliable options for your house of worship, school, or corporate training facility. Make your system stand out from the crowd. And remember,
For the best AV, you know where to go. Visit proevents.pro.
When you have a team of physicians and nurses that really truly care about their patients, that translates into patient care.
It's a small practice, it's a small town. Everybody really takes that time to put the patient first.
Everybody cares what's happening to me and that I'm making progress and I'm gaining my freedom back and my mobility back. This patient is saying thank you.
At Davis Dental Studio, our patients are our friends. Unlike the big commercial facilities, Davis Dental Studios wants you to know you're not just a number. We strive to bring personal and quality service to each patient. Dr. Rebecca Davis has over 18 years of experience as a caring and compassionate dentist. She and her highly trained staff will make sure your visit is a positive one. So remember, when you and your family need dental care, Davis Dental Studio. You're not just a patient, you're a friend. All right, we're back here on the Horizon Construction Coaches Show, and we were just visiting a little bit about some things coming up. But before we do that, I had an interesting conversation with you, Coach, in the first break there about just the chess match and the things that you guys have seen as coaching staffs from Wagner and from Cushing, and being in a pretty unique situation, obviously in our district, and then we ended up meeting them again in the finals, and so we see a lot more of them than maybe the average team that you would play in the finals when it comes to that. So knowing what you were preparing for a little bit, and knowing what them knowing what they were preparing for a little bit. I mean, both of those, obviously a lot of respect for both coaching staffs. And how did that go for the coaching staffs this week?
Good. Coach Connick and their staff do obviously a really good job down there and have for a while. And we knew going in kind of what we were going to see, and it did stay true. And there's always, like I said, a couple wrinkles in the game that you can't prepare for because they haven't shown them. And
Right.
And that's a testament to their coaching staff, and the same for our coaches and players that are doing some different things week to week. But ultimately it's just going out and executing what you have prepared for. And I thought we had a lot of opportunities and did a lot of good things on Friday night. There's some moments you wish you could have back, and there always will be every Friday night. And but the execution for the most part was there. I thought we bowed up and played a really physical offense, and especially in that second half to shut them out. Going into halftime, I'll be the first to admit I didn't think it was going to be a 0-0 game in the second half.
Right.
And that goes into some decision making and things like that. But again, I'm proud of the way we showed. You want to win every time you go out on the field Friday night.
Sure.
But there's I told them after the game, and I hope Lonnie and these guys truly believe that there's going to be a lot of good come out of this.
Well, there is, and when you're playing again, we'll say it again, playing the number one team in the state there. I mean, just holding it that close and playing that close tells you a lot about where you are, and that momentum. We thought you had a little bit of momentum with that last little play there in the second half. That was our Blue Sky big play of the game. I want to show that here in just a second. Matter of fact, let's just cue that up, and we'll show that game here.
Appreciate you guys joining in. Now with 1 second remaining, Tiger offense on the field. 3 wide receivers, 1 in motion. Milligas whirls to his right, looks back, got everybody ready. Touchdown, Tigers! Side to Heisler with the reception, and that's a big play and a big momentum swing.
And we mentioned there, Coach, obviously, a lot of celebration. The Lions really celebrates that. I mean, good, well-executed play, though, wide open. I mean, obviously we saw something there, got him moving a little misdirection, got him moving the other direction, and came back to that other side, and a good result.
Yeah, in that huddle with 1 second left before the half right there, you can ask White to do anything on the fly. And, we knew with motion, Coach Chisholm and Coach Powell and Coach Moore, those guys have been watching that all night and saw that they were going to flow there. And give credit to Coach Chisholm on that call play and then John making it happen and White getting it done.
Absolutely, and John, you can see right there in that play, he put it right over the top of that linebacker that was kind of pursuing out there wide, and laid it right in there. And sometimes that wide open, it's like, oh, here comes the ball.
That was my thinking as I was watching it happen.
Yeah, exactly. But a nice catch. You can see he looked that all the way in. Heisler did a great job focusing there again. I mean, both sides of the ball. I mean, White Heisler does a lot of good stuff for the Tigers, and that was a good example of being on the other side, needing good hands, watching, doing the fundamental things that make you successful, and just watching that ball all the way in.
Yeah, Wyatt. It seems like at some point during the show every week it comes down to talking about Wyatt.
Wyatt, yeah, absolutely.
He does do an excellent job, and again, he's, he gets frustrated at times. You can see it because offenses aren't running at him, or they're doing things game plan, and that's rightfully so. And but he just stays the course, and that plays a testament to it. And then defensively, he's always doing his thing.
Absolutely. Well, also we're going to show. Let me push the right button. I'll make sure I get this right. I did. I actually got that one right, Coach. White Heisler is the game ball recipient. And I think that again, there was a lot of momentum going into halftime. You were pretty excited about going into halftime. When we come down the field, we put some points on the board when we needed to, and right there. And White Heisler a big part of that, and a big part of the rest of the game too. But this one, he actually gets the stats this time. He gets to brag about that a little bit and celebrate a little bit with his teammates. So that's good for him. But again, a lot of play. I mean, a lot of play where you don't see all that. Everybody has to do all those other things in order for that play to be executed right and to develop especially when you're on the 2-yard line, 1-yard line.
Yes. And got a second back actually. The time ran out on the play before.
That's right.
There was still a second on the clock. So definitely the last play of the half, and we got it done.
Yes, absolutely. So that was good, looking good going into halftime, and again, a hard-nosed matchup. And then we talk about coming out after halftime. Nobody scored anything. It was a defensive battle all the way. Tell us a little bit about how that shaped up.
Yeah, I think confidence definitely built going into halftime. It's always great to go in with that kind of momentum. And we come out, our coverage units on kickoff did a good job, and Jason put the ball where it needed to be, and our defense got our offense back on the field, and again had opportunities, and there was an interception in the end zone that was maybe just a little bit behind him, and that's no fault of anybody. They're out there playing their hearts out,
sure.
And just opportunities missed, and there were some on the other side too. I'm never going to sit here and say it was all just one-sided, but just again, good hard football game, and didn't expect it to be 0-0 in the second half, but that's the way it turned out, and a lot of good will come from it.
Well, and that's why they keep score, right? All those points matter, right? So that made a difference. But yeah, that end zone interception was unfortunate, but you just got to keep playing the game. You just keep going. And
they did.
And they did. And that's the amazing part about that. Nobody had their heads down. Right. Nobody was in the game the whole way through, playing tough on defense. Special teams doing their job. I mean, there wasn't anything busted there. That all looked pretty good. Yeah. So I mean, really a pretty solid game for both teams all the way around. They just happened to have one more point on that 2-point conversion.
That's right. To open the game with that 2-point conversion, and you never. I mean, looking back, you would like to chase points early now, but you never think, again, that it's going to be 0-0 in the second half, and you kick that extra point with momentum, and that 1 point turned out to be big.
So you think about that. I mean, was there ever a moment in your mind you thought, well, maybe we should go for 2 here, but did you just let's kick the extra point and get in the locker room?
Those kind of things cross my mind all the time, but I've always thought. My philosophy is, and I've learned from a lot of coaches along the way, and you don't chase points that early. And again, if it's the fourth quarter and we had that opportunity, we would do it. But that early, that was the decision. And
tough call. I mean, when you're only half and you've got a whole lot of football left to play, I mean, that's a tough call to make. And so, obviously, the right call. I mean, you put 7 points on the board, you scored there. I mean, everything looked really good, and everybody was playing so well. Everybody's handling things so well. What was going through your mind when you scored that touchdown, Lonnie?
I was excited. I was ready to get off that field and come back and do it again. We obviously blocked it really good. Everyone was excited. Everyone was jumping. Everybody was loud in the locker room too. But I was just ready to get back out there and score again.
I mean, let's just talk. I've asked almost every player this, about the comparison between last year's team and this year's team. But I mean, you guys really, I mean, you've proven to hold your own almost in every game in every way. And has there been a little bit of a chip on your shoulder this year after last year coming back? And
Kinda. I just want to get back into that state game again. That's all I want to do. But just knowing that I have to improve every single week.
You were doing the exact same job you're doing right now in that state finals game. I mean, how do you compare that in your mind when you think about those two games? You got a regular season game here in Wagner. This is probably the most difficult question I've asked, Coach, of anybody that's sitting in the seat. But here you go. But I mean, what's that like when you think back in your mind? Some opportunities lost, maybe in that finals game that you want back, because the coach was kind of talking about.
I feel like I was just scared to make a mistake, just not playing how I was. Just I wasn't like as me that game, but. And then,
hard to be that, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, nobody really understands that until you get in that atmosphere and you're in that big pressure cooker. You're touching the ball every snap. I mean, there's just a lot of things going in your head right there.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing is it's just I wasn't just a regular season game. I was just playing just not to make a mistake. And that was the one thing.
And that's a big difference. And I mean, that's good information to know, because I mean, you gotta be kind of a little bit inside yourself or withdrawn in that, as you're not really on the attack. You're still trying to figure out the atmosphere and where you're going. And you get in these games, and man, the game's gone in a hurry. It's like it just goes by so fast. I'm sure.
I think there's always, regardless of opponent, where you're at, anything like that, you're going out on a Friday night, and I think there's always nerves.
Sure.
And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But you can't let them control you.
Right.
I mean, you go out and get that first snap under your belt, and don't be timid. Again, don't be scared to make mistakes. They're going to happen. I mean, you know as well as I do, they're going to happen every Friday night, regardless of opponent. And you can just work throughout the week to fix them. Absolutely. And those nerves are always going to be there. I think it's a good thing.
Now that you know what that feeling's like, though, now that you've had that experience in the finals game, is it a little easier to control that now? I mean, everything's a little bit less than that, right? The pressure is always a little bit less than that. So there's what experience is for a football team.
Yeah. You bet.
And that's a big thing to gain. So I think you're seeing that maturity. I think there's so much maturity on the field. How do you feel about being a team captain, and what do you see around you as far as how the football team is coalescing around each other and playing?
I feel like after last year, we're down, but we lost a lot of kids, but we gained a lot, and I feel like every single week we just get closer and closer, and we just want to get back there.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't ask for more than that to respond that way. I mean, as a football team, and come back out, have that target on your back, play the same guys you played last year in the state finals, and play them that tightly. Them being ranked as the #1 team in the state, and come out and play them tough like that.
Oh yeah.
Hats off to you guys. Let's talk about a couple other guys that were also mentioned here. Brady Matheson, again, another. I mean, it seems like every week we've got some kind of 40-some yard play. Brady Matheson catching the ball, running down the field, and putting it in the end zone. Another good weekend for him, Coach.
It was, and his touchdown and what he does on offense, that's kind of what shows. We asked him and gave him the task of covering their best receiver this week as well.
Right.
And again, our entire secondary I thought did a good job, but Brady hasn't played much defense this year with his shoulder banged up a little bit.
Right.
Put that task on him this week, and I thought he did an excellent job there as well.
Well, and that again, you don't see that. That's when that's away from the ball. You're keeping somebody from getting the ball. It's harder to recognize that a little bit. But yeah, an excellent job by Brady. Just his speed is going to be hard to overcome for any receiver that's out there, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, he continues to do it every week, and I'm as proud of Brady as I've ever been. And talking to him, I kind of pull him out because him and John are the guys that speak on Friday nights, captains and all that, and just talking. And again, before the game, you could see there's no, hey, we're here, we're ready to play. We're not. nothing's going to phase us.
Absolutely.
So Brady's in that conversation, and I'm extremely proud of him.
Absolutely. Well, he did a great job on Friday night. Let's talk a little bit about Connor Moreland on defense. I think unofficially we had him down as 8 tackles. You may be able to correct that a little bit. But
Yeah, I'd have to look, honestly. I think we had him at 10 or 12, something like that.
Okay, so a little more, yeah.
But no, Connor wreaked havoc all night long on that defensive line, and hit their quarterback hard a couple times, and kind of made him uncomfortable. And that helped out big in the pass game. And Connor just continues to do it. He's another guy who's second-year starter there. He's been through it all last year, and is doing a really good job. Just a tough guy to block. He's quick. He's athletic.
Absolutely.
Doing a good job.
You talk about the fact that we weren't intimidated, but when you hit people like that, the quarterback and probably their best runner on the other side of the line, and you get a couple of good shots at him, it does kind of change their mind about what they're gonna do when they pass the ball a little bit. How did that affect the coverage out there?
I think it allows us to tighten up a little bit and understand pressure is going to get there. Ball's going to have to come out quick and things like that. But no, their quarterback number 4, which in my opinion, just what they do, he's their best player, and ball goes through him on what they do offensively, and it showed in how he ran the ball some the other night. But he didn't have time to ever sit back there and feel comfortable. And has to throw that ball quick, and that helps your secondary tremendously.
Absolutely. When you see somebody like getting, that's I'm sure the team gets wound up about that when you get a big hit on a guy like that. Especially even though it wasn't necessarily a sack, but it made him think about handling that ball a little bit, wasn't it?
For sure.
Any talk like that in the locker room about is that motivational to you guys in there?
Oh yeah, because we know that we might get right back out there. Like something might will happen and get it right back, score again. But
yeah,
it does help.
And you guys looking at that, anything that creates a little momentum for you, anything that kind of gets you going, get your juices flowing a little bit, and that's going to get you wound up in that game.
Yeah.
Obviously, great game by Connor Moreland. Congratulations to him on the defensive player MVP this week, RCB MVPs. So let's talk a little bit about going forward here, Coach. You mentioned McLean. No team here. No slouchy team at all. This is somebody you've got to prepare for, and you've got to look at. They're 5-1, and probably nobody expected that.
Yeah, they are 5-1. We've been able to watch the film this week, and they're extremely athletic across the board. And the number one thing that sticks out to me is I feel like their offensive and defensive lines are better than what they were in the past. They have a quarterback that can throw it well. He's really fast. They have a good fast running back who is patient and kind of sees his kick blocks and hits it where it needs to be. And they're playing disciplined football, and it's shown. I mean, they've won some big games in the district already. The one loss they do have is to Booker T, and very, very good football team. So it's definitely going to be a test. And again, like I say every week, it's a short week. We're playing Thursday. We do have a JV game tomorrow night, so practice is a little shorter. We've got to make every minute we're out there count.
Right. You got to condense time between just Tuesday and Wednesday really to make those things installed for those games.
And the day before a game, you may extend things a little bit, but you don't want to be out there doing too much the day before a game. So really Monday and Tuesday are the bulk of our work. And like I said, we've got to come out. I thought we had a really good week of practice last week in preparation, and I have confidence we'll do it again.
Absolutely. You talked a little bit about their athleticism. Anything you see that might give these guys, the experienced O-line and defensive line, a little bit of trouble this week?
I think I feel good about our offensive line and just trusting what they're doing in their reads. Like Lonnie has talked about just a minute ago, he sees it right now. Him and Rowdy and are doing a lot of double teaming and things together. I feel good about what we're going to do in our reads. I do think they're a very formidable opponent, and we're going to take their best shot. There's no doubt about it. They're sitting at 5-1, and they're wanting to go win this district as well. Sure. And so
you mentioned last year they squeaked into the playoffs here. They took that fourth spot, which I think was probably surprising for some people too. They had a rough start last year certainly, and then kind of came on there a little bit at the end. And so. Would you attribute that to just the coaching of the program, or what would you attribute that to?
Well, I talked to Coach Ponder on the phone this morning, and he's been there I don't know how many years now, but he's got those guys believing in what they're doing, and it's shown, I believe, every single year, at least that we've played them, that they're improved and they're buying into what those coaches are selling over there, and I think they're doing a really good job.
Absolutely. Well, again, you come off a big game like that has all those implications with it, like Wagner, and then really you kind of find yourself right back in that same situation. A 4 o'clock game on a Thursday, so completely different time of day. It's going to feel completely different out there, is it not, in the daytime?
It'll feel a little different, and I in a sense of playing a football game, we're always out on the field at that time.
Sure.
So there'll be a little familiarity there, but it's a little bit different just going in there and doing that. But the same for them, and it's a little different game time, but that won't be a factor in what goes on. We'll go play a hard football game and let it fall where it may.
Yeah. What do you think about that? Is it going to feel a little different to you playing a game at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, starting a game at 4 o'clock in the afternoon?
I mean, it'll probably feel just a little different, but I mean, like you said, we are already out there. By the time like 4 o'clock hits, we're either transitioning from offense to defense or defense to offense. So, I mean, I feel like we'll just be fine.
Gotcha. And you guys, any conditions there you think, looking at Thursday? I haven't looked at the weather for Thursday, but anything that's maybe a little bit different on that end, a little cooler, or sun bother you?
No, looking at it, I think there was a small chance of rain, and I haven't looked today, but it looks like the temperature, everything's going to be great. Hopefully, getting into some of that fall weather now, and no, conditions will be fine, and we'll be ready to go play a football game.
Football players love October, don't they? I mean, it cools down just enough where you're not killing your cramping, kind of goes away a little bit less, so there's less of that, and it's better than the freezing temperatures of wintertime, November sometimes, but it's really the right time to be playing football. Isn't it?
And that I think showed Friday night too. I thought it was beautiful, and wind was blowing a little bit, but. I thought it felt great whenever we were out there warming up. Coming out after halftime, it was a little, I wouldn't say chilly, but you could tell the difference from the locker room going outside. And but that's what it's all about. It's football weather.
Those first few hits. Now we talked about this a little bit last night. I know the commentary was mentioned a couple times. Just the fact that it's kind of the first cold game we played. I mean, the first few hits, you got to kind of take those a little bit. Does it hurt a little more than usual, or what's that like?
Yeah, I mean, I can't wear 2 gloves. Because I'm also snapping the ball, but I try to have at least one. But I just, I don't know, I just try to do something with my hands where it doesn't get where it doesn't like cramp up or like get hit, like stubbed or anything.
But we're in bad shape if your hand cramps up, because I mean, man, that's something you don't want very much.
Lonnie's the one doing the hitting. He's not taking it.
He's not taking it.
Yeah.
Well, that always feels better if you're the one doing it. It's better that way, right? Well, again, an awesome job you've done handling the ball, and again, people don't realize that affects the ball. The temperature affects the ball too. May make it a little slicker, a little harder to hold, a little harder to handle, that kind of thing. But really, we did a pretty good job with all that, I thought, last week. So kind of getting that first cold game out of the way, and now it's just football on out right here. So anything that is you're worried about, maybe speed, McLean, anything like that you're going to have to compensate for? You've watched a little film.
I don't think nothing too much. They do have some speed though. They do blitz a lot, but I feel like I just look up and see where they're going.
So you're watching those linebackers maybe in the gaps, so if they're going to try to fill or blitz in there a little bit.
Yeah, because they show really hard, and I just have to look up, wait a sec, and just go.
So you identify that, and they're just kind of, are they creeping up? How are they showing you that? You just
they're literally right behind either the nose or the tackle.
They're stacking right there.
Yeah, because if they're behind, they're not coming.
Yeah.
But I feel like we just keep our eyes up. Everybody sees it, and we got it.
Gotcha. Well, this is going to be a good, exciting game again, and kind of surprising to be here with a 5-1 team in McLean. I think a lot of people might go look at McLean on the schedule and think, that's probably a win, but I mean that's hard to know. And you're saying there's no district losses here, and so they're 3-0 in district. So I mean nobody to look past here. We've got to go play this game and got to do a good job. And so, and you're saying with a little bit less time to prepare than we would normally have. Of course, with the game up a day and then some other stuff going on, you really got just 1 or 2 days of solid practice here.
Yeah, and whenever I talk about the preparation and all that, it's the exact same for what they're doing. They have the same time frame to work with. It's just it's what you do with it, and I have no reason to believe that we won't show up and get what we can done and be ready to go. But no, they're a good football team, like you said, 3-0 in district. They've beaten Catoosa. They shut out Miami, and then just this last week beat Cleveland 48-0. So they're having some confidence right now. They got some confidence, and rightfully so. I mean, we're gonna have our hands full, and we got to go play a good game.
Well, hopefully we're sitting here next week, a week from today, we're talking about another victory there. I know we don't want to look past that. We'll go play the game. But you guys do a great job of preparing. You guys do a great job of being prepared and knowing what you're getting into. I think you guys did an excellent job against Wagner, and we just fell just a little bit short. But, man, you know so much about your team now. I mean, that is a tough team. Nobody should take anything away from Wagner because they are ranked number 1 in the state. And it tells you exactly right where you should be, right?
Yes.
And so I think all that's really good. The outlook is good for the Tigers going forward. And, man, everybody healthy, Coach. Everybody's in good shape. So
yeah, nothing big to speak of. There's the normal
banged up
middle of the season bumps and bruises, and
right.
Everybody's dealing with them. We're fortunate right now where we're at, but yeah, feeling good.
Absolutely. All right, Lonnie. Hey, thank you so much for coming in and visiting with us. It was good to hear you. Good to see you, and doing a great job handling the ball. Just keep it up, man, and don't make me the cause of any jinx on Thursday. You're doing great. Coach, thank you again for coming in. We appreciate you. And that is a 4 o'clock game on Thursday, and we're going to be there. Setup's going to be a little bit tougher for everybody to make a 4 o'clock game. But we'll try to let you know how things are going in our preparation of covering that. But we'll certainly be bringing the game to you. So, Coach Morgan, Lonnie Schuler, thank you very much for coming in. We'll see you next time, guys, on the Horizon Construction Coaches Show.
Thank you for watching Coach's Corner, sponsored by Horizon Construction. Reminding you, your home is our pride. Watch Coach's Corner with head coach Rusty Morgan next Sunday at 4 p.m.